I'm Sonny. I'm head of product at Stacklit and maintainer on the Cloud Custodian project. So today we're talking about invisible FinOps, compliance, and shifting left. So to start, every time you create a resource in the cloud, you can imagine you're somewhere along this curve of time and spend, right? So when you create it, resource probably costs like basically nothing. But as you go on, and create resources, these cloud resources often have tens, hundreds of thousands of different ways that you can configure a resource. And each one of these can put you on one of many different timelines in terms of your cloud spend. Our goal is to avoid the bad timeline, so the one where you're spending the most amount of money and you're overutilized. And sometimes we do that by finding optimization opportunities. So in this case, maybe we're over-provisioned for the workload we're running on these resources, and we find an optimization opportunity here. Next, you can imagine that we draw another line, and this is where we've made that optimization. Now we can lower that spend. You may create some form of a ticket on your ticketing system, but a lot of times it takes a lot of, there's quite a bit of lag in between when that ticket gets created, when that optimization opportunity is detected, and when someone goes and actually takes an action on that finding. We categorize everything under that curve as waste. So this is both waste in terms of time and money, but of course, the waste isn't a trivial amount of money. Oftentimes this can be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And the real question is, how do we shift all of these things over to the left? So we do this through policy. So policy is a declarative rule that defines what your cloud environment should be. It's with automated enforcement and in real time. And a policy with no enforcement really is just a suggestion, and suggestions often lead to inaction. If we look back at our graph, we can implement a cloud custodian policy, drastically shifting all the action to the left. So here we have a policy. What we're saying is we want to find instances that are underutilized, and we want to take action immediately. The policy here is pretty easy to understand if you've never seen a policy before. You have a set of filters. Here we're saying resources with less than 10% CPU utilization over the last 30 days, we should go and resize it down. These policies run automatically in your environment, constantly optimizing and taking action, and they're acting invisibly but driving better outcomes for FinOps, security, and compliance. That said, we can do even more with shift left. So here, cloud custodian policies not only operate on live and real resources in the cloud, but they can also operate against infrastructure as code. So on the left, you have a cloud custodian policy. So here we're looking for resources that are not being created in our list of approved instance types. And on the right, you have your Terraform or OpenTofu configuration. And you can see that the policy can instantly flag the instance type configuration here as wrong. And instead of taking that policy action here, we could take that policy action a lot earlier. So again, trying to move as much of the savings, as much of the detection and action to the left as possible. So that may all sound very good in theory. How do you get started? So for one, you should start small. So start with a set of policies, then enforce and align against sensible limits. These limits basically, from the name itself, make it hard to argue against. Start with your lower environments and then adjust for production. The second thing, obviously, you want to socialize these policies. So communicate early, often, and clearly when you roll out policies across your organization. And then finally, make sure that you're enabling developers and not just putting a bunch of roadblocks in their way. These policies really should start out in a sense that they're very basic, very obvious things that you should be doing. A lot of developers deploy resources. They're not trying to do the wrong thing, but sometimes they copy-paste some code out of an LLM, and LLM suggests that you use a giant instance type. So don't stay in the critical path, but make sure that these policies are running in some form of enforcement and automation to make it so that they actually have to conform to your policies. And finally, check out Cloud Custodian. So GitHub link in the QR code. We have a booth in the project pavilion at KubeCon this year, and feel free to come by our Slack channel, and we have bi-weekly community meetings. Happy to have you guys all there. Thank you.